How is it going? Let me know if the music is too loud, too quiet. I can't really tell. All the same. Whoa. Almost accidentally transitioned. Okay. Let's see if I can't. Oh. The YouTube dashboard was also sort of broken. Of course it was. When is it not? Okay. So this is a little bit of a different type of stream than most people are probably used to if they're seeing this for the first time. I've done a few photo edit streams, or at least a couple in the past. Not exactly sure how many. But it's on the rare side for sure. Anyway, this is, for those who don't know, I also happen to write for a website. I'm not going to name them for numerous reasons. But yeah, so one of the things I do is I review tech gadgets. Generally, I try to review stuff that's a little bit more aimed at, well, I review a lot of stuff. Most of the things that I review are kind of somehow related to smartphones. Sometimes distantly related, but somehow related. Audio products tend to come up a lot, especially earbuds. I think I've reviewed, at this stage, 8 or 9 different earbuds, maybe more. And generally speaking, I like to take photos of said things. Now, it is part of the job, but I also actually like doing it. Let's see. I need to figure out how do I want to maneuver these windows. I actually did not plan this out as well as I thought I had, because I made one window larger and it just threw everything off. Okay, anyway, let's see if that's about to screw with the window. Oh, maybe not. That's interesting. Okay, so anyway, when I shoot a lot of the photos, I end up with stuff like this. And I've got a lot of photos I'm going to go through, not a crazy number, but I want to do some edits, make everything look nice and pretty. I am working with, for those who don't know, I am working with Affinity Photo, specifically Affinity Photo 2, because Adobe charges too damn much for Photoshop if you don't use it. Well, I don't want to say every day, but if you're not using it at least a few times a week, they charge too much. And frankly, Adobe charges too much for a lot of its software. Unless it is your only tool for work, it's kind of too much to do that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a pretty mainstream Affinity Photo user. Actually, why do I have a drawing tablet right there? And I also am using one of the lower cost Wacom tablets, Wacom as I like to call it. And yeah, anyway, I may talk about some of the other gear I use later. Possibly camera and lens, maybe. I don't know how much anybody wants to hear that, but yeah. Anyway, also you're hearing in the backgrounds, I'm trialing some different music. This is from a channel called TheRelaxedMovement. There's a link down in the description, and they do royalty-free music that you can use on YouTube and evidently Twitch. So yay for them. So anyway, we're going to one second, that actually went down the wrong pipe a little bit. All right. So yeah, this is the kind of shot I tend to get a lot of times, just because it looks nice. I guess that goes kind of without saying. Let's start off with I always do, because our site is that kind of way. That's weird. Why? That's really weird, actually. Normally this app remembers what my cropping settings are. For whatever reason, it doesn't have them right now. Anyway, I tend to lock everything down to 16 by 10 because the site that I publish to, there's no polite way to say it. They do not handle anything particularly well. So I try to keep everything to roughly this aspect ratio. It keeps life sane. And most of the images end up posting pretty good in this perspective. So let's see. I usually start off most of my edits getting... Actually, do I want to do that? No, I'll do one by one. I normally kind of go through this more conveyor belt process where I first crop everything, and then I do color process, and then I do cleanup. I will do the cropping and color process in one, and then I will do cleanup in the second step. That part is not changing, because forget changing that. That is a must for me. Okay, resize that a little bit, and let's see. I want to go... This was shot like as the sun was just dropping out. Like this was definite sunset, or not sunset, but it was kind of the well, it was just before sunset. This was definite golden hour territory. I kind of actually want to amp that up even a little bit, so just raising the warmth on this image a little. I want that good summertime vibe on this. And I don't know that this will be the hero image, but one of the things I love doing in my reviews, it started as kind of a joke to myself, and then it stuck. I like to put the last image as a sunset image. It's actually became an accident for a while. I did it first as kind of an on purpose thing, and then somewhere along the way I turned around and was like, oh, you know what, I didn't do it on purpose for a few reviews. It just kind of worked out that way. I had the images that were left over. One of them was always a sunset image, and I just kind of accidentally would use it as the last image of the review. But something about using a sunset image as the final image of a review just works out so perfectly. So I've kind of been doing it ever since. And this, there's nothing spectacular about this photo, but there's something I just really like about it. Anyway, boosting the warmth just a little bit. Let's see, do I want to boost? Yeah, just the tiniest bit on the magenta. It doesn't do a lot. Like, that is barely visible, but it heats up the image just the tiniest bit. Carson giving a laugh on the tequila reference in the Discord. Let's see. So I can't see who's watching right now. And also, hey Carson, how's it going? You're up late. Just wanted to say hi. Yeah, I figured this would be kind of on the late side. It's funny, I said yesterday or last night, within the next 24 hours I would do a photo stream, and here I am just under the wire. I was planning to do it this morning or even last night, and it just didn't happen. You're headed to bed? I kind of figured. I was surprised to even see you react to the to the notification. Oh, thank you. And yeah, dude, you have good sleep. I hope everything is going well over there. So let's see. Anyway, oh, you'll check the review to see the final project or final results. Yeah, go for it. I'd be half tempted to just like post these as, you know what? Actually, I might do that. Save everybody the trouble of going to the review. Like if they want to read the review, go for it. But just to save people the trouble, I might just post some of these straight to Discord. They can go into the photography section. Why is my voice like stuffed? Anyway, show before and after in Discord. I maybe. It's a little weird to do that because the befores are raws. So the before is going to necessarily look really bad. Or not really bad. It's funny because this image, the before and after, is like not bad at all. Yeah. Before is on the right, after's on the left. Like, I mean, come on. The before just actually looks really good. It out of camera in raw format, like this isn't even the JPEG, in raw format this before looks fantastic. That usually doesn't happen often. But yeah, by the time I'm done with this, hopefully it'll, you know, we'll boost the contrast a little bit, bring up the clarity to kind of get that sort of hyper real sharpness. Yeah, by the time I'm done with this, like it's just gonna look, it's gonna be so warmed up in that like sunset vibe. You know, it's not a lot, but like you can see again, the before is on the right side. Like it's not that big of a difference at all, but on the left side it's just that little bit warmer, that little bit more inviting color. All right, take it easy, have good sleep, and I'll catch you maybe tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I mean, I'll be in Discord. Let's see. I don't want to tweak the black point actually, because it's already a pretty dark image. But I can bring it up, and then maybe we'll tweak black point up there. Kind of creates a little more contrast. Still leaves us with a very dark image overall. I think, yeah, that's a little too hot. It's not that it's that big of a deal, but right up here, there's this little bit of red that is like blowing out. And I think, I'm not positive, but I think it's like this stuff right here. Not exactly sure, but regardless, I don't want to go full blown out on anything if I can avoid it. And I don't mind a few things dropping off on the bottom. Like this is a black thing, and there are things in the shadows, so I don't mind a little bit kind of falling off at the lower end. Is this noise? A little bit, not bad. Let's see, can I get anything good out of brightness? Yeah, bringing up brightness just the tiniest bit also helps. Yeah, this is a really minimal set of changes, but I like it. If I bring up shadows just a bit, it really brings out some details. So I'm gonna go right about there. It's really minor. Looks like highlight, the only thing it affects is that branch. Do I want to tweak that at all? I feel like if I bring it down just a little bit, just enough so that it kind of falls into the background, I like that. I say just enough as it's at negative 55%. But hey, You know, up here, it like you can barely tell a difference up here. It has to come down to like there to start falling off into the background. Okay. Do I want to do... I think there's some noise reduction to be done. Not a lot. Okay. Yeah. I doubt any of this stuff's even visible through YouTube, but just that small amount of noise reduction, it's helping to kind of smooth out the shape of these. Like, you know, it's like kind of go back and forth. I don't know how visible that is, but having just a bit of noise reduction does kind of clear that up. Does this help at all? Yeah, doesn't seem to. All right. 9 times out of 10, if I just boost clarity, I don't really need the detail refinement, so I think I'll leave it off. So, yeah, I like that. I think that's where we want to go with that one. And I'm good with the sharpness on everything. I already eliminated a different photo that was very, very similar to this one, but it wasn't quite as sharp. And I really like, I know normally I don't want this, but I really like the shadows falling on this reflective display. That looks weirdly special to me. It's unique. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, where's it at? Oh, duh. Hit develop, then save as. What I'm going to do is drop all these into one folder. I guess you guys can't see that, which is probably for the best. Let's see. Okay, yeah, you guys can't see this. I'm just giving it a file name. I know, super exciting, but cool. This is part of the process I go through. I would have liked to rename all these as I was going through, but I didn't really have time. So yeah, I'm going to basically run through the same process on the next several images. Oh wait, this is why I wasn't. Yeah, there we go. That's why I wasn't getting the right aspect ratio before. I was hitting the wrong interface element. Okay. Crop that down a bit. It's not my favorite image, but it's a good filler. We can track that exposure up a bit. Oh, let's also... Did I want to... No, I don't want to change orientation. I think that's probably about as good as it's going to get. We'll balance out the white balance a little bit. Yeah, small tweaks just to make this look a little bit more natural. This time I don't want to go too sunsetty, but I want to get it kind of more maybe early afternoonish. Not that that really exists in these photos per se, but because they're still very visibly, like, you can see, I don't know how well my cursor shows up in the video, but you can see, like, there's obviously directionality to the light. This is end of day, so I don't want to go, you know, I don't want to go full like Mars with this, but I want to, you know, I want to keep it kind of to that color level where it makes sense. And this was pretty low light when I shot this, if I remember. Yeah, I had to bring it up to ISO 400 at 1/300th of, yeah, this was a fairly slow shutter speed. Okay, so drag up the clarity more significantly because I didn't get the greatest sharpness on this. That saturation is looking a little wonky. I'm getting way too much blue in this, so I will bring up the temperature just a tiny bit more, because this is looking bluer than I want it to. Not by a ton, but enough. Okay, and let's bring up the shadows a bit. I kind of want to bring down the highlights just a little bit. I don't know. That one's tough. This image didn't come out the way I wanted it to. It didn't work out badly, just... Okay, there's our contrast. That looks a lot nicer. Okay, I like that. Okay. I think that's about right. Again, let's knock out some of the noise. How far up do we have to go with this? Yeah, it's gonna be too much. Yeah, this is good. Just gonna be an image that's got a little more noise than I want it to, but it'll live. This will be a bit of a filler image, I admit that. All right. Let's see. Shift Command S. I need to remember the hotkeys for this. I was pretty sure that's what it was, but you never know. We're just gonna call this Buds in Case Sunset 2. All right, similar kind of story with this one. Okay, I like that. One thing I went for with this image, that reflection. The buds reflect on, just sitting on a phone, they get such a nice sharp reflection down here. I'm gonna have to do some real dust cleanup on this in a bit, but I'll get to it. That'll be second phase. In the meantime, let's get that. Oh, even the smallest boost to temperature is gonna make these really orangey, so let's sit right there. Boost the magenta a bit, right? I think I like it right about there. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the shadows. Ooh, maybe I won't. Wow, that does a lot. Okay, very tiny increment. We'll just boost that the smallest amount. Bring down the highlights a tiny bit. We're gonna bring all of it back in contrast anyway, so. Okay, and then we don't want to boost the clarity so much that the dust suddenly becomes just this massive thing, but I want to boost it just enough to get a little bit more sharpness out of like these speaker grills down here. Again, really subtle additions on color. Yeah, that's barely visible, but it's something. We'll tweak up the exposure just the smallest amount. Actually gonna lower the black level, or sorry, black point just a little bit, because I need to bring back, or I want to bring back this reflection. And a small boost to the brightness also just kind of brings a little bit of hotness back to this. It's more than I want, maybe, but actually, can I go back? I'm not feeling like it even makes a difference. So yeah, maybe I'll just let that sit at 0. I don't think there's going to be any noise to remove. Yeah. No difference. None. Okay, I like that. Okay, let's save that one out. Oh, wait, develop. Still getting used to Affinity Photo's specific processes. I know them, but they're just different to me. We'll call that buds on phone. Okay, this was more of a lifestyle shot. Kind of. It didn't work out as nicely as I wanted. I had another one that I like so much more than this, but it kind of had a specific problem to it where the sun was just hitting really harsh, and it made it look, I don't know, it just didn't work. Let's figure out. I think this doesn't gain a whole lot from that background, so I'm going to crop this in a lot tighter. But part of the point of this was to show size perspective. It's not that any one of these objects has like a specific size. Like most people don't have this specific phone. Most people do not have my wallet. But you factor all this stuff in, you kind of get a sense of how large and how large or how small the earbud case is. That's what I'm going for with this. So I don't know exactly where I'll use this in the review, but I'm sure I will. All right, before I tweak color, let's get that exposure up just enough. I'm gonna have to lower those highlights. They are killing me. Okay, I'm gonna bring the shadows up and then drag that black point back up. That way I've got a good contrast going and just barely touch the contrast slider. It's not super in focus, but I don't care about it because it's going to be, well, the earbud case is not super in focus. Everything here, though, looks sharp enough. I mean, you know, the wallet looks fine. None of this is supposed to look super, super sharp. If I remember... Oh. Huh. Okay, I did shoot this at f4.5. Weird. I thought I shot this at something like f9. I was shooting all this handheld, so that's kind of my defense. Okay, for the few things that do have color, I kind of want to drag the saturation up a bit. It's going to affect this lock screen here. It's affecting a little bit this case. That's not what I meant. Like, you can see it's going between blue and gray. Its saturation is goofy. So I want to kind of bring up the blue just a little bit on that. And then the saturation is also going to hit the green in the background. Not a ton, but it's there. Okay, so by the way, if anyone's watching this and you want to see what keys I'm using, I think I could probably get something that tracks the key presses. Let me know if that's a thing you want. And when I say tracks, I mean like shows on screen what I'm pressing. Because I know I'm hitting hotkeys and command keys. And they're probably not super, super obvious. But anyway, it usually doesn't make a big difference, but I always tend to bring up the vibrance just a tiny bit if I bring up saturation. Okay, let's see. I've touched all the sliders there. Is there going to be any point to noise reduction? Oh, there actually is. It's really subtle. But if I get in here close, there's with no noise reduction. Here's with some. Like, it softens it up, that noise just a little bit. If I bring... I think that's good. Yeah, it's not screwing with anything else. So yeah, I like that. That makes it look a little bit more on. I want to bring that clarity up a little more. Let's see. Yeah, I do want it up there, but not super high. All I'm going to end up doing is cleaning up dust if I bring it too high. I'm already going to have to do some of that. But I think that about wraps this one for color. Okay, so save that. That's going to be park, bench, lifestyle, I guess. By the way, I am leaving all of these open as I work on them. Okay. Making sure I've got everything here. Moving to the next one. This one's a little awkward. I'm not sure how I will use this one for sure, but I like it at the same time. Actually, I should do that first. Okay. Oh. There we go. Let's do that, and we'll actually, how much do I want of that background is really a big question mark. I don't know that I want this centered, but I also kind of like that. This was shot really awkwardly, but it works in a very, very weird way. The only thing I don't like is this one bit sticking up through the case, and I could fix that. It would take way more work than it's worth. So I don't think I'm going to, but I could fix it. In the meantime, I like that this shows player controls. I kind of like that it shows just sort of the buds straight on. I don't know what it is about that, but I like it. Okay, let's bring that exposure way the hell up. It needs to come up. That was shot a bit too underexposed. The only thing I don't like... Okay, that should fix that. And if I... Oh, actually, this might be one where I want to lower the black point, because it's giving me just a little too much, like, loss of color right in the display. Or loss of detail, if I don't drop it down. Oh man, I can't bring this up at all without it going wild. Or really, really bad. Damn it, something flying around in here. Let's see. So, how about if I... Oh, wow. If I actually reduce the highlights just a bit, I get back a ton of detail in this section and a little bit back here. So let's drop those down. I don't want to go too low because it starts looking weird. But if I keep it... Yeah. If I keep it at about negative 28%, that works. All right. Small touch to contrast. Then the clarity slider. Just look at how sharp that just makes everything look. The clarity slider is your best friend sometimes. I want to bring up the color just a bit so that background green kind of pops. Not so much that it takes over, but just enough that it has some life to it. Let's see. Out of curiosity, I'm just gonna... Hey, that's good. I just wanted to check my channel analytics. So far, it looks like nobody's here. That some people have visited for sure, but I can't tell if anyone's still here. If anyone is, let me know in chat. Some confirmation someone's watching is not the worst thing in the world. But I wanted to double check Studio and make sure I'm not suddenly losing a ton of subscribers. I mean, I get it if I am. This isn't for everybody. And this could possibly go to a different channel or something like that, but you know, kind of want to know. Okay, anyway, so I've touched everything on this one, or all the sliders I'm going to mess with. Oh wait, do I want to tweak white balance at all? I don't think so. That's too much, but just, let's see, it was at 51,000. Yeah, let's bring it to about 54,000, just enough. Or 56, whatever, 55. It adds just the littlest bit of orange hue to this branch, and it looks really nice. Yeah, we don't want to add green. I could kind of see adding a little more magenta. Again, it livens up that wood. It gives it a little bit more texture and depth doing that. It's the smallest adjustments, it really is. I don't think that noise reduction is going to make any difference here, but I'm going to bring it up just the tiniest bit. Oh, wait. Hold on a sec. Let's revisit that clarity. Oh, that background just gets really crunchy. Let's maybe cut the clarity in half. Yeah, it's not a big difference, but that background gets really crunchy with this clarity up even a little bit. I don't love that. Now I could... Do I want to do this? Let's see. Let's create an overlay just for this. And, oh, you can't change clarity on the overlay? Lame. Oh, okay. There are ways to fix that, but... Hey, David. How's it going? Yeah, there are ways I could fix that, but it means going to multiple layers. I'm not going to go to that sort of trouble with this. Which is a shame. I'd love to fix that differently, but... Yeah, I'm not going to... I don't want to make the background look ugly at the cost of bringing up just the tiniest bit of sharpness. Oh, good shopping trip, I take it? I haven't been there in a while. Would be nice to go. Though I do have this... So I have this ancient bottle. Well, I say ancient. It's from 2008. It's a bottle of Zin from a winery I used to work at. I'm not going to name names because, frankly, I kind of don't want to give them any promotion. But, and actually this, so I've had a bunch of these bottles lying around for ages. This one has kind of started to turn a bit. Once you let bottles age too long, they start going a little loose. It's not vinegar, but it starts turning into something almost like it goes through bottle shock or something, but it's not bottle shock. Anyway, photo editing wine? Yeah, basically. But yeah, a little bit of Zen just for the hell of it. Why not? You wonder how people drink those old ass wines. Okay, so there's actually a couple of answers to that. One of the biggest ones is that you can kind of make wine to be more age... I don't want to say age resistant, but you can make wines that are due to chemical makeup, how you prepare them, what's... I don't know how to phrase it, but you can basically make wines that are designed to be aged. And then you can make wines that are designed to basically, like, you age them in the barrel, you stick it in a bottle, and they're meant to be opened right away. The winery I worked at was they kind of wanted to sort of do both. So it was one of those things where you buy it, you could drink it right away, but if you're willing to let it sit for a couple of years, yeah, it would get a little better. It would smooth out. It would find that nice balance if you let it age for another couple of years. That said, 15 years is too much. Probably, mostly. Though I did recently try a different one of the bottles, and that one was just as good as it had ever been. Maybe better. I don't know. But yeah, there are bottles of wine that legitimately have been... They can age, let's say, 50 years, and they can still be good. But it's rare. It's really rare that you can have something that's allowed to age that long and still actually be a good wine. Especially because the reality is a lot of wineries don't want to make something that their customers will never be able to drink at its height. So they want to make something that is aged first, and then their customers can maybe age it longer, but generally speaking, they want customers to be able to buy it and within a reasonable amount of time drink it and get kind of like the height of the experience. Did I open this before? I don't know. Technically, you could mean different things by that question, but this particular bottle, I only opened just, I don't know, a couple hours before stream. I've been slowly working on it since. So I'm assuming you are asking if it was open on a previous day, and the answer is no. No. A lot of times what I'll do is get a bottle. If I'm going to drink a bottle of wine, I'll open it, drink like half-ish, and then the other half I'll do on a separate, like the very next night. We'll see. Maybe this one I might finish this one throughout tonight. Like, no rush, but okay, to that one. Once you open a bottle of wine, depends a little bit on the wine, and it depends on how you're storing it. Obviously, like if you open a bottle of wine, pour it into, let's say, a decanter or something where you're getting a ton of air into the wine, you better drink that ideally in the next, say, 6 to 12 hours. If you are opening a bottle, you leave it in the bottle, and you're recorking it, especially if you're like vacuum sealing it again after you do this. And if you throw it into the fridge, any of these things kind of prolong that aging, or not aging, but sort of that process of turning. So like a restaurant I used to work at, it was not uncommon for us to open the bottles to serve to people like by the glass. And yeah, you'd open it one day, you could still serve the bottle for another. If it was a white that sat in a fridge, you could probably serve that bottle for another 2 to 3 days. And sometimes that's how it went, and some of our people did not go by good practices of like labeling when bottles were open. So more than once I served people bad glasses of wine, and they'd come back and complain, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, one of our waitresses did this and I don't know when it was opened. So yeah, stuff like that happens. Unfortunately, I hate when that happens. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Buds in case, lid open. This is, let's just call it on branch. Need to save this and move to the next one. Oh yeah, I don't know what it is, but I really love this photo. But yeah, you can get away with usually leaving a bottle for a day before finishing it, as long as you throw the cork back on it so nothing gets into it and you're not letting tons and tons of air get to it. But I wouldn't really give most bottles more than a day. Again, if it's like a bottle of white, you can throw it in the fridge. You can let that sit for a couple of days. No worries. That's fine. I just realized there's a serial number right there. I wonder if I want to hide that. Maybe I'll make that go away for the final photos. Let's see. Do I like that crop? I could bring back a little bit more of that, but I kind of don't want to. I think actually that... Yeah, I like that actually a little tighter. But yeah, with wine, you just you don't want to mess with it too much. You want to give it like its best opportunity to be good. Wine is a lot more durable than snobs give it credit for. Like, honestly, there are people who are like, oh my god, if the bottle gets like the smallest amount of shaking, you might bruise the wine. There's literally no such thing as bruising the wine. That is a dumb thing random people made up one day, and I don't know where that came from. Fact of the matter is, okay, I wouldn't recommend this for other reasons, but you could flare bartend with a bottle of wine. No, there's nothing about that that's bad. In fact, that's actually good if you're about to drink it. You're literally aerating the wine, or, well, can be. I mean, if you've opened the bottle and there's air getting into it, you can literally aerate the wine by flare bartending with it. That's actually a good thing. You want that effect. But yeah, there are people out there who are like, oh my god, you need to treat it with kid gloves. You need to have, like, you know, the white glove service on your bottle of wine. It's like, no, you don't. No. That is the biggest fiction there is. And there's a lot of other weird fictions when it comes to wine. You can treat a bottle of wine kind of aggressively. Now, that's not to say that you want to shake around something that's going to age a lot. And you don't necessarily want to shake something that's about to be served. Depending on what it is. If it has a bunch of sediment in it, you don't want to shake it because you don't want the sediment all over the wine. But outside of the sediment that's in the bottle, who cares? It mostly doesn't matter. The biggest thing is you don't want to shake something that's going to age a lot, because sometimes that actually can have some unexpected consequences. Or supposedly it can. I've never actually heard why, but let's pretend that maybe there's something legitimate to that. But yeah, something about the aging process, weird things can happen. Okay, let's see. Before I get too caught up in babbling about this, God, I am just so drawn to warming up all these images. Let's bring a little more magenta into this. I like that. The wood background just comes alive with just a little bit of magenta. Before I tweak with the contrast, let's bring up the shadows just a smidge. Actually, do I want to do that with the highlights? Nope. Let's just leave those as they are. I kind of like them where they're at. I'll bring up that saturation a little and the vibrance to go with it. Okay, and some clarity to get that sort of faux sharpness. Excellent. I like that. We can now bring up the exposure. Tweak that black point down. That kind of makes those reflections disappear. I like it. And normally tweak the brightness up, but I want it to come down a little on this, because there is definitely some like risk of blowing out the little chunks of bark here, but I like it. Small boost of contrast, very, very minor. Can I make the display brighter? I actually, you know what? Actually, that's, yeah. We'll do a quick overlay right there and come back to this. Yeah, it's not going to go super bright, but that's better. I mean, oops. That compared to that. I mean, it's a little bit, but it's something. It doesn't look like it messed up anything, so that's good. And yeah, good call out, because that's something I probably would have ended up fixing that later, but yeah, I would have forgotten about it, and this is the better time to do it. Let's see, anything else I want to mess with? I don't think so. Kind of like where this one's sitting. Okay, let's develop that one out. We'll save. You can't see the dialogues, for which I don't care. It really kind of doesn't matter that you can't see this as I give it a file name. So this is Affinity Photo. Am I happy with it so far? The answer to that is so complicated. It is a very well thought of app for a very, very narrow group of users. Oh my god. It is only good for a narrow group of users. This is one of those things where it drives me insane how much this is only really meant for compositors or people doing like digital art. That's the best answer I have, is it's so good for digital art. When I say it's so good for it, I mean it is ridiculously qualified for that. This honestly kind of makes Photoshop look like an amateur tool. This has some really clever workflows that make it possible to take 10 different images, work on each of them in parts, and in very, like, you can backtrack through steps. It's actually like less destructive than even Photoshop, which is saying a lot. So it's so good for that stuff. But if you're just doing photography and you need a good editing workflow, oh my god, this is not the best. Not by a long shot. No, by far, life would be a lot easier on the workflow to use Photoshop and Lightroom, or for that matter, Capture One and Photoshop, or Capture One and even Pixelmator, or, well, strictly speaking, even like Capture One and Affinity Photo. But the well, no, I take that back. That's actually not a very good workflow. But the workflow here is very messy. They don't have batch operations that work very well for actual batch operations. You can accomplish some amount of batch operation, but it's not as good. So yeah, I have complaints. They're not bad. They're just not good. And it's funny because you can look all over the internet and find so many forums, even on Affinity's own website, like their forums, people are complaining left and right about the workflow because it's just not good. But like, if you're willing to work around the workflow, most stuff's okay. And it beats paying for a subscription. Yes, 100%. That is the whole one. That is entirely the reason why I do this, or why I'm putting up with it. Because I don't want to pay. I know it sounds like nothing, but I don't want to pay $10 a month, or 11, 12, whatever it's up to now, for the photography bundle. I don't want to pay that extra money just because Adobe wants to charge it. Like, that doesn't work for me. It's, I get it. If Photoshop is your day in and day out tool, or Photoshop and Lightroom, if you're using it the way that a lot of like pro photographers, wedding photographers, if you're using the way wedding photographers use it, that is a bargain. They are getting away with murder with how good the software is for what they're doing and how little they pay. That is incredible. But if you're like me, where the only stuff I do now is review photos, and I'm not doing like a ton of them per month, I'm doing a few per month, paying $12 isn't worth it. I mean, I've already saved just in the relative, well, I switched at the beginning of this year. Almost actually, like, I think like first week of January, I switched. And yeah, I mean, I've saved so much already just on the photography plan that I paid, not only paid for Affinity Photo, I paid for the entire Affinity line, which is 3 apps. Affinity Designer and Affinity Publisher are included in that. I don't use either of those, but I have intentions of using Affinity Designer. I have used it very briefly in the past. I don't see myself using Publisher, but, you know, I bought the bundle. The cost of Designer and Photo together equals the costs, or if you bought them individually, the cost of the bundle is, I think, the same. So it was just worth it to do that, and, you know, you get Publisher as a bonus. So I just bought it all as one. Anyway, yeah, this is a huge savings. And so I'd say I'm breaking even right about now. Actually, literally this month, I think I'm breaking even. Maybe it was last month. Next month, I'm technically profiting or saving. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't think there's actually, no, not that. Oh, wow, that actually can hit a natural white. What if I go there? No, I think I like it more there. Okay. Wow. Tinkering with saturation is just like blue. Okay, let's give it a little bit. We're gonna give it just a little bit of that blue. A little bit of vibrance. Okay. Yeah, and so far, kind of like you mentioned earlier, commented, it seems like I'm not really tweaking much, and for the most part, I'm really not. Like, a lot of these turned out very nice out of camera. In just a second, I'll flip to the original one that I used as a cover photo for this. When you see the difference between the original and the fresh out of camera, or sorry, the fresh out of camera original, and then what I changed it to. I mean, there's very obviously a difference, but at the same time, man, the fresh out of camera just looks so good. It's nuts how good it looks. You know, I don't care about the surface this is sitting on enough. I kind of am actually okay with the idea of blowing that out just a little bit and just getting... The challenge I'm having is with this earbud up front. It's a little hot. Can I actually, if I bring down the highlights a bit, does that save it? Ooh, it does not. Okay. That's kind of blown out. It's weird it's behaving the way it is. Okay. A little tweak there. If I raise the black point, it really makes that background disappear. Like, the background is just nothing. I mean, technically that's a lawn, but yeah, there's just nothing visible to that background. The one catch, I want to leave enough that that button next to the port remains visible. If I do that, a little brightness still good there. Very tiny amount. I like it. What happens actually? Wow, that shadow slider is just... That's attached to a lot. I'll bring it up the tiniest bit. Not really for a good reason, just because. Is there any noise reduction to be done? I can't imagine there is. Yeah, no, nothing. Okay, good. Hopping back in time. Gonna go back to that original. Just to show what happened. Wait, do I not have that? Oh, lame. they take out the... Huh. Interesting. So you can't see the original. Unless, I guess if you go back here. Does this work? No. Okay, the original is maybe lost? Okay, well, I take it back. I thought I would get... I mean, I can still bring it up. It's no big... It's not not hard. Done there. Is this it? Yeah. So that's the original. Let's move these next to each other. Oh, I could have gone the other way. But yeah, I mean, aside from the crop, like the original, it still looks so nice. The original is so pretty. And the crop, I think, is doing most of the work here, but I brought up so much of the colors, and the like this grass just looks golden. The branch kind of becomes a little bit more balanced with the whole image, but the earbud case just, it shines. Like here it looks nice. This reminds me so weird. This reminds me of like this is the image I picture when I think of like old cowboy movie. Maybe not literally with wireless earbuds, but it's kind of got that old cowboy movie. This is the sitting around the campfire. It's the sun is setting. You're just like getting there. But then you hop to this, and it's like this has that hyper real. This is the cinematic. God, I hate that word. I hate that word so much, but I'm using it here. It's got that cinematic. This is the sunset view as the earbuds are staring at the sun, just about to like hide behind the mountain, and they're, you know, it's like the looking forward into the sunset feel, and it's so much more vibrant and lively. It's tiny in reality. Like this is just tweaks to color. I haven't cleaned anything up yet. Not that, to be fair, like there's nothing to clean up. There's like a couple specks, barely. Actually, are there specks? I see one. There's one right there that I'm going to clean up, and that's it. I don't see anything else to clean up in this image. Oops. Hit the wrong button. So, God, that is ridiculous how out of camera that just came out so nice. Anyway, we'll close this one. There we go. And this one needed to be... Wait, was I? Yeah, I guess I'm kind of done with this. This will be a filler image if it even gets used. Buds. Out of case. Lid open. Table? I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know what to call this one. Okay. This one. This is a weird one. Totally in studio shot. I have. Let's see. How's this going to show up in view? I have rock. That is literally just this rock. And sitting behind it is a wood board. I set the earbuds on there. That's it. It's just a rock I stole off of an old back road. But, you know, getting detail shots of the earbuds, it kind of works. Hey, Curvy Mermaid, how's it going? How's your night going? Did I use a light strip? No, not on these. when I get to an editing session for the GoPro Hero 12 Black, or wait, maybe it was the DJI, it might have been the DJI Action 4, or is it 5? I think it's 4. I did use it for that in a couple of photos. I have another set that I want to do with that, and we're going to get to an image in a little bit that you'll see kind of what I intend. I didn't use the light strip for it, but when you can picture what the light strip would do with the image that I'm going to show you, you will totally understand why that light strip will be cool. Anyway, Curvy, you just woke up 5 minutes ago. Hey, that's good, right? I think that's good. Let's see. Do I want to tweak the orientation on this? I don't think I do, honestly. Bringing it down just to center that up a little bit more. I think that's better. Okay. These need way more brightness. Let's tweak the white balance just a bit. I actually want to bring some of the warmth out of this. I feel like me. Oh, wait a second. That's... Oh, you know what? No one can tell. Okay, so what I'm looking at, the wooden board that I use for this, it's, you know, I can see it, but it's not an easy reach. It has slats in it. If you're looking close, you can see that they're no longer level because I changed the orientation of this photo from there. They're kind of level here, but I sort of like this orientation more. So I think I'm going to stick with that. I'll kind of tweak that and bring the brightness up a little more. Okay, I like that. It bothers me so much. These look dirty in this. Okay, and there actually happens to be a little fleck of something right there. But aside from that, these are actually clean. Actually, okay, there are flecks of stuff, but this I wiped down. It just naturally looks this way in photos, but it's not dirty. It's really weird. Okay, we'll bring up the saturation and vibrance just a little bit, because that brings back some of the warmth to the background without changing the earbud color. Because I don't want those coming out blue. I want them coming out more silvery in this shot. I mean, if you can see them side by side, this is exactly the color that they really are, or very, you know, very, very close. It's funny. I actually care a lot about trying to get a perfect color process, but I also never use the actual tools for getting perfect color. I'm not a good photographer. Huh. Okay, the shadow slider affects almost nothing in this. It's just that one earbud has a reflection. Let's kind of want to drop it down just enough so we create... This is invisible to anyone, but it looks like a very minor gradient. Okay, I like it. Do I want to... Noise reduction does nothing. Okay, excellent. I'm happy about that. Good. Okay, that's a quick one. Earbuds, no case. The file names are just all over the place. Now, we're going to do something kind of wild here. I'm going to show you two images. Here's one. Here's the other. They look practically identical, right? and they're both too dark. We'll get to that in a minute. But the thing to notice, this one is the sharper one. This one kind of out of focus. We hop back to this one. This one's more in focus. That one's pretty soft. Going to close both of these. Oh, wrong button. All right, and we're going to, let's see, new focus merge. Add those. Okay, hit OK. It does some processing, and boom, sharp lower and sharp upper. Cheers to that. Is Modern Warfare 3 beta out? Thursday and Friday for pre-orders or a code. Saturday, Monday for free. Getting close, huh? Looking forward to it. Oh, that's interesting. It actually picked up the right crop this time. Not sure why that happened. Okay, so I'm probably not going to use both of these, but I like having the option. So I'm going to make a point of kind of cleaning this one up too. All right, exposure way the hell up. Because I caught those way too dark. We're actually going to drop the black point, bring up the brightness just a touch. Good, okay. And we'll kind of fix this in contrast. Bring up the clarity even more, get that sharp detail poking out. Don't want to do too much to saturation. I feel like that's going to do weird things to the color. Yeah, that really does. That might actually be. Maybe if I desaturate a bit, that's even good. But vibrance can come up. Okay. I actually don't want to mess with white balance, I think, but no. Yeah, that tweaks it too much. Okay, we're not going to mess with white balance. Oh, wait. Do I want magenta a little bit? Nope, I do not. Do not like. Actually, I could bring down the magenta a little. Maybe a lot. Jeez. Like, it's just not hitting that upper bud. That's interesting. Okay. Wow, and even making a bit of a cooler image really works. It's strange. Okay. We want to bring up the shadows and get back some of that detail. God, I am not looking forward to this. That cleanup is going to be so gnarly. Let's see. That is just hitting those reflections. Let's bring it down a good chunk. Not too much, because here's what it is. Normally, I kind of like the idea of just getting a more balanced reflection. I like that. Okay, so yeah, detail refinement, not going to mess with. Noise reduction, that's what I meant to go for. Nope, it's not making enough difference. So good, we are leaving it at that. I like that. That's a good starting point. Okay, buds out. Okay, no. Earbuds, no case. 2. All right, and then I have 3 to pick from here. I don't know which one I want to use. So And this is also where we're going to talk about that light strip. Okay, so the way I shot this, let me paint a little word picture. I took an acrylic box, turned it upside down, and I put these chips of obsidian. I mean, you know, it's just little polished obsidian rocks on top of it. Now, underneath, I intend to put the light strip. I didn't do it for this shot, but I'm going to do it more with the GoPro or DJI Action. But having that light kind of poking up through, I think is going to look amazing. Even with like maybe a straight downward shot. But I haven't decided which of these I'm going to end up using. I think I know. So there is this one, lid open. It looks nice. But it's kind of missing something, mostly because there's just this blank spot right here. It's lacking in life in a way. There's this one. Actually, I feel like this is a Goldilocks situation. You'll see why in a second. This one I really like. You know, you've got something here in the middle. It's not overly bright. It's not taking over the image, but it looks sharp. It looks pretty. It looks neat. And then gets to this one. I had to do a lot of these shots to get this one right. This has a bright screen to it, and it looks nice. It's colorful. It's the only color in this image, really. But I feel like it might be a little too bright. It commands the eye directly to just that. So I haven't decided, but I feel like I'm leaning in this direction. This just looks a little bit better to me. So what I'm thinking about is not straightening it out entirely, but it kind of looks like a neat little slope of the stones, and this is, you know, planted in at an angle. Yeah, see, hey Cosmo, how's it going? Welcome. But David, you see what I mean? Like, this was such an easy shot to get. It's the total, aside from obviously the earbud case, the total. Oh, you just moved to a new apartment. Congratulations! I'm hoping. Is it a nice move? Do you like the new apartment? Anyway, so the total of what's used in this photo, like, you don't even need the acrylic case. That just happened to be the right height prop for what I'm doing. But I bought these obsidian stones for, I don't know, like $8 or something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was 10, whatever. It wasn't much. It was pretty cheap. And behind it, oh, I can't reach it right now, or I don't want to. Wait, is it? Oh, no. Okay. I just used a piece of foam board. Literally $1. So it was so low cost to create this scene. And then obviously I've got a single light. Or, oh no, sorry, I take that back. Technically there were 2 lights used in this shot. But yeah, 2 lights on this thing. And it just looks so cool. It looks like such a nice... This looks like one of those professional, ridiculous... You can only imagine what a photographer would charge for this kind of a shot, sort of thing. And yeah, it costs nothing. Cosmos, it's going fine so far. How's my day? My day has been a little wonky, a little weird. Wait a second. Is there no music playing? How did it get paused? Did I accidentally hit the wrong thing? Just noticed that. Anyway, Yeah, my day has. I intended to do this stream actually like 3 to 4 hours earlier, and I kind of got hung up with finding music and finishing the photo culling and stuff like that. But hey, here we go. By the way, I'm trialing some different music with this. It's a little bit more low key, a little more suited to photo edits, I think. When I get into the cleanup stage on these photos, I feel like it'll actually suit that better. Maybe I should have gone with different music for the coloring stage and then switch to this for the edits, but we'll get there. Cosmo, you have your own bathroom. Win. I almost don't need to read anymore. You have your own bathroom. That's an instant win. Let's see. You're planning on decorating with turtles decorations? Nice. You have to do the Fall Guys dailies, and that's gonna suck. Yeah, I got in a couple of my dailies ahead of the weekend, so I'm through with my weeklies, and I'm probably gonna be lazy and not touch the dailies until the next week starts. Both your pets are in the room, and you're tasked with taking care of both of them. Surprisingly, they're not fighting. Oh, that's a win. David didn't even notice the new music. Good. That's what I'm going for. I want it to be in the background. This is just some, like, it's not technically chill hop. Literally the website named chill hop, or this company that calls itself chill hop, whatever. It's not that. I literally looked at them, but this is in that style. I actually wanted to use chill hop, but their policy on how you have to credit by each track, and as I'm sitting here trying to get started on the stream, I'm looking at that and it's like, no, I'm just not doing that. Sorry. It's not happening. That would take forever. Okay. Anyway, so doing some tweaks while I'm sitting here. You had no Wi-Fi all day though because Dad moved the Wi-Fi box. Yeah, that's brutal. I don't get me wrong. I live in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes Wi-Fi goes out. It's a very painful fact of life. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Actually, maybe I need to bring that exposure back down, and I'll fix it down here. What I'm noticing is if the exposure is too bright, this toggle button starts losing its definition. So I want to keep that down low. And then bring the highlights. Actually, I don't want to bring the highlights way up. I think that kind of looks better. I'll bring some of that contrast back right now. Ooh, too much. Yeah, right there. First day always sucks in moving. No, every day of moving sucks. Just every day of moving sucks. I've moved enough times in my life. I do not ever need to move again. As far as, well, I do need to move. So, but yeah, I cannot stand moving. It is a special kind of hell that I would eliminate if I could. I've actually kicked around this whole idea in my head about how we should redesign society. I'm kind of kidding about this, but also not. We should redesign society around the idea that people should be able to sort of hop between houses very casually. Like, oh, hey, you, for the next like 3 months, you need to work in a different part of the city or in a whole different city. How about we swap houses because we need to work where you happen to live? Let's just swap places. Furniture stays, everything stays. Let's just swap, and no money, no nothing. Let's just trade places. I swear, if we could figure out a way to make that work, life would be so good. I know it's basically impossible, but it magic. I'm just saying. Let's see. You also had no Wi-Fi at school because Dad needed to pay the data. He paid it after school. Oh, brutal. Let's see. Your cat Cosmo. I don't know what he's doing. He sat behind me and now he's in the middle of the bed. You hate moving with a lot of stuff. Oh, wait. You know, I'm sorry, but wait till you're moving for your own place. Like, you know, you rent your own place and are going to be moving in. Wait till that happens. Oh, you will hate moving. Like, you'll love it because you're getting your own place, but you will also hate moving. It is brutal. You wish you could teleport your stuff. 100,000%. The process of boxing, carrying, and then unboxing and putting things back up, that's 4 steps to get right back to where you were. It is the worst in my book. You have to also sort the toys and Funkos. Yeah. David, what? That's an Elon Musk type of thinking? Come on. What did I do to you, man? You do me like that. How? So harsh. Comparing me to the South African Nazi who thought he could fix Twitter by making it terrible. Oh man, how do you do me like that? Occurs to me, kind of actually want to shrink this down just a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna drop that, bring it back here. I kind of want to keep that slope feeling up. There we go. Yeah, that looks nice. I like it. But yeah, oh my god, Elon Musk. No, I'm just saying, man, I've moved enough times, and I always think specifically about Portland. I know this is a weird thing to say, but I've known a few people in Portland who've had this complaint. They've had a lot of problems with this. Anytime they change jobs, which, you know, a lot of people change jobs, and when you change jobs, you end up very frequently working like across town or further away from where you live than where you started from. Like, when I was living in Vegas, at a certain point, I moved to a house partially based on where my job was. And, you know, I was renting the house. I didn't buy it, but, you know, I just kind of looked at it and I thought, I want to have a place that is convenient to work. So I found a place that was convenient to work. After that job, I happened to then become work from home, or I was living out of hotel rooms, depending on which contracts I was on. But I never wanted to be, or sorry, like if I had gotten another job in the city, it probably would not have been as close. And I didn't like, I would have hated having a long commute to an office. So my whole thing is, I just, like, I didn't come up with this at that time. I came up with it after hearing about all the people in Portland who typically they work in like Hillsboro or wherever Intel is. Maybe that was Hillsboro. But Intel has a ton of people constantly driving out there. Intel and Nike are both like down the street from each other. And they hire a ton of people, but none of those people live near the office. They all live really far away. So I always think about how silly it is that they all have these like hour-long commutes, when in reality, the ideal solution for most of them would really just be find someone who lives there, like work a deal, high-five them as you show up, and you now live in Hillsboro. You just stay in this place, and wherever those people in Hillsborough are actually going to work, because funny enough, you can look at the traffic. It is so incredibly clear. The traffic, people living in Hillsborough drive into Portland. The people living in Portland drive into Hillsborough. Happens every day. It is really, really bad. All the people in Portland complain about this too. The reality is, these people just need to trade houses. That's what it is. They need to trade houses. Maybe on the weekend they trade back. Who knows? But they're living in the wrong places. You couldn't help but think of Elon's no house viewpoint. I actually don't know what that is, but I feel like it involves that stupid like cargo crate box that he said he lived in for a while, which, God, that guy, just, that guy. He's a special kind of something. Okay, kind of just tweak the white balance. Got this thing looking nice and silvery as opposed to sort of this gold color. The gold color looks nice, but the silver looks a little more accurate. I mean, it's a black shell, but you know, when you've got the reflections, the silver looks a little more on. It actually is more white than metallic. It's weird how this still looks silvery in the photo, but yeah, this is better. And since I shot this at, I shot this at ISO 100, there's gonna be like no. Oh, well, bringing up the noise reduction actually does help smooth out the surface a little bit, because that's what it actually looks like. It doesn't look as rough as it does here. Okay, I think we're sticking with this one because I've already done everything here. I like the other shots, but do I want to keep this? Do I have any others of the lock screen? I have that one. Those are showing different screens. Oh boy. Maybe I'll do both of these just because. One thing that really sucks, man, I hate this so much about Affinity Photo. You can't just copy your edit settings. You have to like redo everything, or you can create a preset that imitates those settings. But you can't do both. Or sorry, you can't just like copy and paste your changes, which really just, it makes it so much slower of a process. I don't like it at all. Not for batch processing. Oops. I lost my... There we go. Yeah, I think that's... Yep. I was gonna say, I bet these are gonna end up being almost identical. Okay. And I might go with a slightly different look for this one. I'll go a little bit brighter. A little contrastier, I think. Yeah, this one looks a little natural. I might go a little on the wild side with this one. Kind of really work that shadow that's there. Let's see. So Curvy, paying your rent on time and consistently should count towards your credit score. Depending on the circumstances, it does. It's all dependent on where you're renting and whether or not they report. But there are some apartments that absolutely do credit your score based on that. That is not an unusual thing, actually. I wouldn't call it common, but it definitely does happen. David, paying your phone bill too. Yeah, okay, that one's one that sucks. Because all the phone companies actually could do that, but they don't. I don't know why they don't, but that's something they do on purpose. Supposedly, and the rumor I heard, or the explanation I heard once, is because they offer their own financing and most people are using that financing. Did I make these two just identical? God, they are way too similar. I did not intend that. Yeah, because they offer their own financing, supposedly there is a thing where they are limiting, or sorry, they don't report to the credit agencies because they basically just want to handle their own credit situation, which is dumb. And then they'll still report you if you're delinquent on payments, but only after, like, only if they send you to collections. They don't report you if you're like late on payments, but if they have to send you to collections for payments, then they report you. Otherwise, they typically don't. And I don't know that that's still true, but it was true a few years ago. Not that I ever had this problem myself. I read about it. It was a thing. Okay. Let's call this one case on obsidian. I don't even know if I spelled that right, but I think I did. I kind of don't care. I'm going to take the opportunity to just not care. I should rename some of these later, but who cares? That's a problem for later. Okay, that is going to be all the images I'm going to work on tonight. I do, just to show, I did do another set, but I have not culled this set, and I don't know if I'm going to use it. But just to show, I took a set on burlap, and I really like it. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but the burlap just adds a nice texture to it. You know, you gotta kind of get it down to that. But the way I shot these, or rather what I was shooting them for, was to get each and every one of the different screens that this case can have. So like this one, I literally just went through each and every screen of the case so that I could have all of them in shots. If I decide to use any, or however many I decide to use, I can go back and I can kind of make these happen then. But I didn't want to spend a bunch of time trying to cull through them and edit them tonight. So I'll probably do those later, or one or two of them later. But oh, and then there was actually, I think, further down, I changed the perspective. So I ended up with like this perspective, which is a little bit more, you're kind of like, it's almost eBay-ish in how it's oriented. But I think the second set turned out looking better in a way, but at the same time it actually looks more clinical, which I kind of don't like. And oops. Oh yeah, then there was a third. Oh god, I hate it because this actually looks really good. This one and a bunch of others like it. I had, I think, the case perfectly like on something. I don't even know what it's rested against, but it's just hovering there perfectly. And actually, you know what? This one's sticking. Do I want to use the ambient sound one, or do I have another? Oh, that's right. This was during the, okay. I have to use a different one. You'll see why in a second. Because it's the only shot I bothered to get of this particular interaction. The call screen. We'll put that up because I don't even talk about it in the review. There's just nothing to say. It's a call notification, but you know, there's absolutely no reason to talk about it, but showing off that it actually has like an incoming call. You can answer it from the case. Like, it makes sense to actually talk about that, or not talk about, but show it off. Let's see. What are my opinions? What are my opinions on Halloween? Well, why don't I just take a drink for that? As a holiday? Wow. As a holiday? It's good. I don't have anything against Halloween. The only thing I don't like about Halloween is some of the things to do for Halloween. For many years, I would go to the bars that I would hang out at every weekend, and you know, it's just someplace to go. I live in a small town. Like, there's not a lot else to do, honestly. So, you know, going to hang out at whatever bar and hang out with people, it's a thing. It's kind of the natural thing to do when you live in a place like this. I'm gonna have to get really creative with this because I feel like the burlap got a little blown out, but if I play it right, this can look really nice. Don't want to go too warm on the burlap either. Enough to give it some warmth, but I think that looks okay. Can I go? Man, this is so touchy. I think I can give it just the tiniest bit less of the green, and I think that's as close as I want to go with this. Anyway, yeah, so the dressing up, I've done it in the past. I usually don't go too overboard, but I've had a few interesting costumes. I think you probably remember me telling you about the religious figure that I twice dressed as. And ended up winning a costume contest with that. Yep. Which, oh my god, if I did that today, somebody would literally try to string me up. But back then, most people got a good laugh out of it. They thought it was funny. I remember there being one person who was very, very stuck up about it, but everybody else was pretty chill. Let's see. Buds out of case. Lid open. Incoming call. Oh, that one got named Sunset foolishly. I will fix that later. I don't care about names right now. Okay. So, but yeah, I've never been super into like over the top costumes. I get it. I totally get it. I think they're awesome. I just have not had the time, money, or inclination to like go out of my way to do that. And so, yeah, the over the top costumes haven't been my thing. Okay. So now we're going to start with a cleanup stage. We'll fix some of the little blemishes in this image. Technically this is going a bit longer than I intended, but no big. And I love how these tools just make it so easy. In Photoshop, the healing brush, you can just select what thing you think needs to be healed, and a lot of times that's all it takes, and it cleans up really well. Affinity Photo requires you to have a sample point. So you'll see me like set a spot and then move my cursor over and then draw on something. That is a little bit more tedious in this, but at the same time, it does something interesting. It doesn't work the same way Photoshop's does. What it does is it seems to sample textures. It doesn't just copy. It's not a clone stamp, but it looks at the texture of what you're drawing from and then sort of imitates it, which is really, really wild. So I've never seen anything quite like how it works, but it just makes stuff kind of vanish in the coolest way, if you don't mind the extra clicking required to make it work. But I found it to be both tedious. It's a little slower, but it's also maybe a little bit better controlled. It kind of depends. There are certain times when I feel like it's better and certain times when I think it's worse. Oops. Okay, that looks nice. The one catch is this looks nasty. Good. That stuff's all kind of going away really easily. Now that was a bad one. Let's back that off a bit. We'll sample from down there, and just like that, it all kind of vanishes. You only use the clone stamp. I used to. I really got away from the clone stamp. Like, don't get me wrong, I still use it. It is a fantastic tool in some instances, but there were some images I edited years and years ago for this apartment website. I managed to use the clone stamp to completely remove a pickup from the driveway of this image. And the pickup was a weirdly, like, it really took a lot of space in this image. I managed to make it just completely vanish. And I replaced a whole bunch of lawn and everything else. But man, looking back on it, I could have done that work so much faster, not using the clone brush, but using something else. So yeah, I've circled around to where I love the clone stamp, but only in very specific situations where I really actually want to clone, as opposed to like blemish cleanup. Okay, I think I like everything. I don't love how it's there's this really bright shimmery part here, but I also kind of don't want to mess around too much with fixing it. Maybe, well, let's see what happens if... Oh yeah, that's gonna be a nuisance. I'm not fixing that. And back to the question, should I get rid of this serial number? That seems like a lot of work. I kind of don't want to. Maybe what I'll do... I'll just make like... just erase the last digit of the serial number. That way if some weird person comes along and decides that they're going to like try to do a like warranty service on the buds and just copy a serial number from like a review photo, they'll get to it and be like, oh yeah, it's blah blah blah, here's the whole thing. And then JBL will be like, you still need 2 more digits. No one will be able to tell what it is from this, so that's good enough. Okay, so we'll save that one. One small annoyance is your tool choice does not persist between files. It persists with the files, so I have to pick it each time. It's the smallest complaint. Like, that is a first world problem if there ever was one. But I'm just hyper aware of it right now. Clean up these little bits of dust specks and stuff like that. None of this people even care or notice. But hey, it's the little things. I like being precise and making a product that looks just slightly too perfect. But yeah, anyway, so Halloween. The thing I really don't like about Halloween was hanging out at a bar, honestly. I like hanging out at bars. I really do. Like, having a crowd of people, it's a fun time. Sure, drunks can be annoying. But there is something about just having a crowd of people that I really enjoy. And that's kind of where it happens a lot of times. The problem with Halloween is you get overcrowding. Really bad overcrowding. You used to hate it, but you've come around. Yeah, I kind of get that. The thing for me is Halloween is one of a handful of holidays or events where... Oof, that's not quite on. Halloween is one of those times where I would rather be at like a house party. Give me a house party. House parties are the better way to do Halloween. You get to enjoy the crowd. You're not, if you are getting drinks, you're not fighting with a crowd to get drinks. House parties for me are just better for something like Halloween. Same with New Year's. Same for like the big day off, like extra day off kind of things, like even Memorial Weekend. Though I live in a place where sometimes this city or area just completely empties out because everybody goes over to the coast for Memorial Weekend. Other times they all stay here. It really depends on the circumstances of the year. But I'm gonna have to sample from that edge. There we go. Let's go off this edge. Yep, that was awful. Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? Okay, try this again, but actually be like precise about it. Nope, that was not precise. Yeah, that works. Not perfect, but getting pixel perfect down at this level is nearly impossible anyway. Oop. Yeah, they get crazy, not as bad as New Year's. Yeah, New Year's I hate. I will not hang out at any place on New Year's anymore. Ever again, I'm done with that. Amateur night is what I call it, and it is the worst. The last thing I ever want to do is hang out at a bar on New Year's now, because people suck at this. If they are not used to it, they're terrible. And all too often, people do not know what they're doing, and it's miserable. Like, it's the worst to be around a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing on New Year's. They act stupid. They get too drunk. No one should want to be like that. And a lot of them don't know good bar etiquette, which, granted, people who don't hang out at a bar wouldn't know that. I get that. But at the same time, it makes it awful for anyone who does know what they're doing. Like, if you know how to talk to a bartender and be polite, get your drinks ordered, if you need to notify the bartender or something, knowing how to do that properly. Oh man, just so many things. If people don't know what they're doing, they're awful. Some people just are the most insufferable to be around during that situation. Plus, way too many of them do not understand the importance of having a proper driver. Having a DD, especially on those days, is a really, really smart thing to do, and a lot of people do not do it. So, they're just setting themselves up for failure. It's so dumb to ruin your life over one night where you just are not, like, you throw caution to the wind for no purpose. Like, don't do that. You're an idiot. Okay, kind of got good cleanup on that one. Is there anything else? I think that's about it. Nah, I'll leave that. That's fine. So you're obviously, like, the dust is really visible here. It's amazing I didn't already have one, but I just bought a little air blower thing. It arrived today. I am very much looking forward to using it in future photos like this, because I can't tell you how much I have like been in the middle of shots, realized, oh, there's a speck of dust, and then I have to like try to delicately brush the dust away with a piece of cloth or something like that. It is the worst. You never have luck with these? And I hope that's not the situation I have. This one is a little more advanced. This is like, it's weird to call it air blower advanced, but it actually has like an actual air filter in the back of it, so the air that goes into it is filtered of dust. I mean, that's not the craziest thing. Obviously, others could have this. It's a pretty basic feature to have. But when I saw that there were some that had that, I was like, ooh, that's neat. I think that's the thing I need to have. And it was like, I don't know, $3, $4, $5 more than a regular one. It's like, yeah, this is worth it. Oops. Why did he do that? That edge is imperfect, but no one will be able to see it. Honestly, most of what I'm fixing now, people won't be able to see anyway. These changes are, I'm so zoomed in. Some of the dust I'm removing would have been visible, but by the time these get resized, and by resized I mean they're going to lose like a third of their resolution, or no, 2/3. Sorry, they're going to lose about 2/3 of their resolution just when I resize them, and then they're going to get compressed further by our crappy CMS, and by the time that's done, like, a lot of this detail is going to be completely lost. But in the offhand chance that any of it does stick around, like, some of these I think would still be really visible. I want to make sure that they're not there. Maybe that's a waste of my time, but the fact of the matter is I've gotten pretty fast at a lot of this stuff, so oops. So I can mostly, like, you're seeing this. I'm spending a few minutes on each photo, but Honestly, like, I'm spending more time talking this stream than I am editing. And most of these edits, okay, that's a little sloppy. Okay, it's fixed. Like, I'm not flying through this, but it's going pretty quick. You had a cheaper one that B&H offered. To be fair, B&H, well, they have cheap stuff, but they also have a lot of pretty decent stuff. B&H as a company, I struggle with. They do not have the best history with like worker rights and things like that. But they do generally, not all of it, but a lot of what they offer is actually pretty good products. You know, every company has cheap stuff, but most of what they have in terms of like random camera equipment and things like that, most of it's still good. Not to say that I don't still try to order from Adorama instead, but sometimes that's not an option, either due to price or availability. Like B&H at this stage, it's kind of like it's not like as it's not as varied on the product selection as like Best Buy, but it's kind of close to that. Whereas Adorama, that is basically just camera stuff. They don't really carry much besides camera stuff. In a second. What? Oh, that's... I accidentally hit the caps lock key. It was doing something weird. Strangely still working really well, but... as a side note, I'm actually doing a... There's one thing I'm not doing that I should technically be, but it doesn't matter for... Or it hasn't really mattered for what I'm doing here. In theory, I should be creating a separate layer to do these cleanup edits. But... honestly, it hasn't... Oops. It hasn't mattered all that much. Not for the kinds of edits I'm doing. But it is the more non-destructive option, and in that sense it would be better. Yeah, one of these days I could go through like a here's best practices for how to actually do all this stuff, but not tonight. Strictly speaking, I'm already kind of going over when I plan to stop, but you know, what are you going to do? You kind of want to finish this up. If only I could do photos for a living, or I don't know if you mean me personally or if people in general. Because obviously plenty of people do this stuff for a living. In fact, photo editors are a really common thing. The problem is they actually get paid garbage. Well, maybe that's not entirely fair. Some of them I bet do get paid well, but most photo editors don't make a whole lot of money. It's a very grindy kind of job. And it does depend a little bit on what you do. If you're like an editor for wedding photos, and assuming you're fast and efficient and people like the work you're doing, you can make bank. If you're an editor for like I have a specific example in mind. It's maybe unfair, but I know there's a swimsuit photographer. I've actually referenced him on streams before. I don't want to give a name because it feels like it'd be kind of trash talking him. And I actually like what he does. I think most of what he does is pretty credible. But he's even bragged in the past that he found an editor who doesn't charge much, and he's basically kind of like taking advantage of the guy. And he's really happy with the guy's work, but it's like, dude, pay him what he's worth. That sort of irritates me. So in a way, like, I kind of want to call him out, but at the same time, I think most of what he does is actually above board. You meant me? Okay. The thing is, I don't know how much I would want to do this stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. I could kind of see doing this for, like, products. Like, real product photography. I could see being a cleanup editor on that sort of stuff. But I don't know that I'd want to. And again, that stuff just, sadly, it doesn't make very much. Oh yeah, I just looked up and saw the previous comment. You were looking on B&H the other day. They have full-blown enterprise servers. Yes, they do. I was actually really surprised. I was looking up NAS products to see, like, what are some other companies that I should reach out to do reviews. And as I'm looking on B&H, it's like, oh, here's a company. Oh, their cheapest product, their cheapest NAS is like $20,000. And that's before you put hard drives in it. It's like, yeah, no. I don't think that they're looking for I don't think they're looking for us to do reviews. Don't get me wrong. It would be badass to do reviews for that kind of thing, but they are definitely not the type that looks for random websites to do reviews. Frankly, I don't think they would even care about The Verge doing a review. That's not the audience that they are trying to appeal to. Let's see. I think I really spick and span this thing. Am I missing any? I don't think so. And I'm not going to bother cleaning up stones. Like, I feel like the stones, these look nice on their own. Some of them look a little cheap or cracked. Like, there's a crack there I would probably almost like to see fixed, but... Oh, I did want to fix this. This might be a little bit ugly. If I do this, a lot of times the AI no, it's not going to. All right. Let's clone stamp this one. Okay, wipe that out. And then what we're going to do is drag knock the opacity way, way down. Oh, wait, can I? And hardness also down. And we're just going to soften up that edge. And this is going to take a few swipes to really get there. But by the end of it, and fix that little bit that I didn't really get before. Is it perfect? Actually, you know what? I was going to downplay this and say no, but it's close. That looks freaking perfect. I do not see any sign of editing in there. And this part was a reflection off of this one stone right here. Or I think that's what it was. I suppose it could have been a different one, but I'm pretty sure it was this one right here. And I didn't see it when I was taking the photo. So. And does it need to be reflection perfect? No. But in this particular case, I want it to be. So, yay, I like that. That worked out. Oh god, I really don't want to touch this one yet. We're going to bounce to these. Because I know that this one, if I remember, I think the only one I wanted to fix was this one single fleck right there. Wait, why did it do it? Oh. Fix that, fix that. Boom. Gone. Okay. Doesn't save the same tool, but it saves the settings. That's wild. Okay, I don't see anything else that needs fixing in this image, I think. Oh. I don't know what's going on here, but I want to get rid of that. Whatever that whiteness is, because I think it might just look wrong. Okay. Maybe I'll do a little bit nicer of a job on that. Yeah. No one will see. Cool. That took less than a minute. I like when photos take less than a minute. That's beauty. Okay. All the review photos would make a good portfolio. See, that's the thing. There is some intentionality to this. This is part of the reason I actually do care about these, because in the offhand chance that any brands see this and say, oh, hey, you actually seem to care about this stuff where most of the people don't, maybe we can work together. I like that idea. I don't know that it's going to necessarily come up, but that possibility of getting to work with some brands could maybe pay off somewhere down in the future. I don't know if it's showing up in stream, but there's a weird graphical glitch happening now when I first press down. It's not a big deal. Actually, that did fix it. It just needs to be further fixed. But yeah, working with brands is, let's leave it at that. Working with brands would kind of be an ideal thing. I mean, technically I already do, but trading under my own name versus other names would be the key differentiator to this. Okay, do I want to tweak any more on this? Man, I'll tell you, using a drawing tablet for this is so nice compared to using a mouse. Not to say you can't just fly through some of this stuff with a mouse, but it's different. This just goes way faster. Or way more natural, I guess. There are times when I would probably want to use like a trackball, but so this is a Wacom tablet, but it is not one of the review units. Let's see, is there anything I need to... This photo might actually require a quick skim over the sides just to see if there's anything in the background that's unsightly. It is the smallest thing, but I know what that is, so we're just going to make that disappear. Let's see. Curvy, this sort of workflow would be great with an MX Master Mouse or Logitech G502. Why? I mean, don't get me wrong. In a way, it can be, but I'm a little skeptical. The thing is, this tablet works really, really well for this stuff, and I actually don't use the features of this tablet super well. This tablet actually has 4 buttons across the top. I never use them. Like, I've programmed them to stuff, but I just never use them. Oh, David, you thought I was using the Apple, like the Apple Pencil? Technically, there are ways to do that, but it's actually not really supported yet. The only way to do that is using an iPad that is connected to your Mac through Sidecar, right? That's the name, I think. And then you can use an Apple Pencil on that display only. And if you're mirroring displays, it would be kind of like this. I'm not mirroring displays. No, the weird Apple mousepad thing. Oh, you're talking the Magic Trackpad. This thing. I use that when I was using that while I was doing the color stuff, but now that I'm doing like cleanup, I'm using the stylus and tablet from Wacom. Because it is just it's I don't know, I can't figure out a good way to explain it, but it is a smoother workflow. There we go. It's a very, very close to perfect fix. Okay, I think that's good. Sorry, too much tequila. Man, I'm falling behind. The wine is, I actually don't think I've taken a sip of that in like an hour. Oh, this is another one that's going to take so much cleanup work. Oh, boy. But let's see. You always struggle with a mouse when clone stamping. Oh yeah, clone stamp kind of sucks with a mouse. There are certain things that I want to do with a mouse in photo editing software. There are other things that never. This is one of those things. I mean, I could use a mouse for this. I have used a mouse for this many, many times. And I'm pretty fast at it. Maybe not a mouse. I've used a trackpad. Oops, that was bad. Let's get in closer. Now, this is one spot where, here's the thing. Honestly, a trackball is better. A trackball is amazing for this stuff. People do not give enough credit to the trackball. It is a magical piece of equipment. I want to leave some of this stuff in, but I want to take out maybe some of the bigger ones. Okay, I like that. I think I like that. Come around to this side where it's going to get all kinds of ugly. But yeah, the trackball, the precision you get out of that is insane. And once you get good at it, that is a big once. Like it's a qualified statement in a big way. But once you get good with the trackball, it is so fast. Trackballs actually, in not all cases, but in a lot of cases, make mice look slow. Can't wait to do a before and after of this section. Because this is going to look so clean. And one thing I love about trackballs, it's actually what what first got me to start using them. You don't have to use them on a desk. A mouse is desk bound. A trackball, set it on your lap, set it on your leg. You can set it on a desk. You can literally hold it in one hand while the other hand operates it. Cannot do that with a mouse. Want to use a mouse on a plane? Good luck. Trackball? Heaven. Heavenly. You can do anything. They're so good. You wonder if gaming is good with the trackball. Okay, so I've got one word for you. Snipers. You want to be a great sniper? You can wreck with a trackball. The precision is golden. However, if you're trying to play like high speed Twitch level gaming, you know, we're talking like playing a Quake in deathmatch. No, you need a mouse. A mouse, you can move faster. You can move more aggressively in certain directions. You cannot do that with a trackball as well. You can do it, it's just not, it's not as clean. Let's see, how many more of these can I get before that? Perfect orientation breaks. Ooh, wait, did I? No, not quite. You play at 1200 DPI. See, that's the thing. I'm very aware of that being a tactic or that being a thing, but I don't know what the DPI levels are. Like, I've never actually done it. I know it's something people do. I've seen plenty of mice configured for precision based on DPI level, but I've never done it myself, and I don't know what they are. Like, in terms of like how precise is 1200 DPI? That doesn't really, it's not something I inherently know. And yes, I'm totally going to go back to that section I left behind, but I kind of got sidetracked over here. Man, I could have used something to blow the dust off of these. Oops. When I was out shooting this. Oops. Yeah. There we go. Curvy, your wrist flicker. Yes. See, here's the thing. Everyone thinks trackballs are slow. Wrist flickers, I'll tell you. Try that on a trackball. You're literally just flicking your thumb while you have just as much power to do like fast rotation and movement. All with the movement of your thumb. It's the exact same thing as flicking your wrist. Not that it's the same speed level, but I used to play Borderlands with the trackball. Well, Borderlands 2. All the time. I was great at it. This is not something most people would want to do because they've never practiced it, but when you do it for a little bit, it's really easy. And it plays great. And again, like if you're a sniper type, oh god, trackballs are crazy. They're so good. But again, high speed, twitchy gaming, no. You still want to go mouse for that. A mouse is a million times better. Oof, that came out looking... I'm going to leave the reflection there, I think. This is... Okay, technically I screwed up just ever so slightly there, but it looked better, so I'm not going to change it. Okay, let's fix a little bit more of these, and then this image might actually be almost done. This one took way too much cleaning. Because, yeah, this is the part that still is ugly. It's like I did not clean anything before taking this photo. Oop, nope. Let's see. Okay, yeah, curvy. It allows you to flip around quickly. Yeah, and which, by the way, that is easily the thing I hate most about playing Overwatch, is someone sneaks up behind you. Like, sneaking up behind is just so much a part of that game. I do it all the time. Like, that is one of my best moves, is sneaking up behind somebody. Oh, I screwed up that edge. I don't know that I can do a whole lot to fix this, actually. Maybe if I come at it, yeah. If I come at it from there, that kind of restores it. It's a little dark, but I'm okay with it. Because what I'm going to do is then I'm going to come back over, just kind of blend it back in with a lower opacity. Yeah, it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be. Like I said, by the time our CMS destroys this image, none of this is going to make any difference. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, playing Overwatch with a controller sucks. You can always tell the people who are not console gamers by the fact that they can react to you sneaking up behind them way better. Okay, just because. Let's... Oh wait, I can't do it before and after. That's right. Or wait, is there a way? Maybe it's under a setting. Or under one of the menus. Yeah, that's not all the way back in history. Oh well. Probably should have just... Alright, I mean, I could look at what the document originally looked like, but it's not worth it. There's one speck up here. It's been driving me nuts since I saw it. Let's get rid of you. Ooh, that's bad. try that again. That works. Okay. Ooh, that's not great. Let's try that again from this side. There we go. Nice sharp edge. Okay. Is it perfect? No. Does it look nice? Yeah. And it's got that reflection. That's what I'm going for with this one. A nice, clean reflection right on the phone screen. Maybe we'll get rid of that fleck of whatever that nasty... Come on. Yeah. That hides it well enough. If I was doing this for professional work, I would do so much more cleanup on this. This thing would be like spotless, but there's no point going any further than this. That cleans it up really well. Let's see. David, if we could get AI to clean all the debris, would it be a good application for it? There's actually already tools that do this even without AI. There are some pretty good tools that can, or pretty good tactics. Let's say tactics. There are some good ways to clean this stuff up. I don't like a lot of them though, because they tend to also reduce sharpness. And so I don't like going to that extreme. God, I really, look at that. Why did I not clean this up on site? I'm sure there's a reason I didn't, but random junk sitting right on the screen. Oops. Yeah, no, there are ways to make some dust kind of disappear. I don't use them because they tend to kind of kill your sharpness, or they sometimes can erase detail that you shouldn't be erasing. I certainly know why people use them. Ooh, that actually looks really ugly the way I did that. Let's back off a little. Okay, try this again. Smaller brush. A little closer. Make sure we get this clean. Once I saw it, I saw some weird color bleeding effects that I really do not want. But yeah, it'd be nice if there... I assume there's a way to do this with AI that would be better. But, you know, it's one of those things. You need to really look close to make sure that you're not destroying something in the process. Which isn't that hard, honestly. Like, if you can just look close and say, oh yeah, you know, I'm happy with the way this turned out, in a lot of cases that's sufficient. But if you do need to be precise on, you know, like a product photo, I don't know that I would necessarily trust AI. Like, I might let it do a pass and then just go over pixel by pixel kind of thing and figure out, oh yeah, you know, it got this part a little wrong, so maybe I'll not use that part, I'll do that part on my own. And then, but then like there's this whole swath of section that the AI got perfectly right, so I can just use that as is. I'm sure that's going to be a thing very soon. If it isn't already, I mean, it might be. God, I'm zoomed in way too close to be cleaning this stuff up. Oh, maybe I wasn't. I take that back. Let's see. I saw a little bit of that conversation about pho, which actually I would like some. That sounds good, but not gonna go to Costco for it right now. Or well, it's too late anyway. But let's see. Mentioning BJ's. Closest Costco is Dedham. Bifold Gang. Curvy, you have a Ridge wallet. A genuine question here, because I've actually never talked to someone who has one. Do you actually like it? I have no interest in getting one, but it's funny. I've seen so many YouTubers promoting them. I've never actually heard of anyone getting one. I mean, I assume that there's nothing wrong with them if that's the kind of wallet you want. I don't like them, or I don't like that style. I've never really like actively sat down and tried that style of wallet, but I feel like I would hate it. David, your wallet looks like the one from Seinfeld. I have never watched Seinfeld. Well, not actively, and I really never will. I didn't like the humor from what I've seen of it. But it's funny because I know what you're talking about. It doesn't take it any, there's no mystery to say you carry a lot of stuff and then my wallet looks like blank. You can say almost anything and it's like, oh yeah, no, we get it. You've got a packed wallet. So I know what you're talking about still. And I used to be kind of like that, and I wouldn't say that I'm completely past that, but my wallet sits pretty lightweight these days. I don't put a lot of cash in there. Not that I have a lot to put in there, but you know. But yeah, I don't like carrying a lot of cash. It's annoying to me to even have a lot of cash in there. I just put in the credit cards that I use on a regular basis, plus one or two backups for whatever reason here or there. And then, you know, the other things I have to carry, like ID and whatever else. Like, that's it. My wallet actually stays pretty skinny these days. Or moderately skinny. Not Ridge skinny, but I can get by on relatively little, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I could get by on less, but I'm also pretty good about using, well, not great. I used to be a lot better, but I used to be pretty good at, like, if one particular card gave me a benefit of some kind at a particular shopping place, I'd be pretty good at whipping out the right card to use at that specific location. You know, or in the case of like Walmart, where there wasn't really a perk to using a specific card, I was good at using American Express, because I know American Express charges higher fees for the retailers, so I made a point of using that with Walmart. Let's see. Kirby, you like it, but it has flaws. You've got a cash strap with yours. Like if you straight up just have your ID, credit or debit cards, insurance cards, rewards membership cards, it's great. Anything more, no. Get a bifold. See, you mentioned all that stuff. I feel like unless that's a very short list of things, you don't want to go with something like a Ridge wallet then. The problem is, if you have a handful of rewards cards plus, you know, 3 or 4 credit cards or however many, at that point your Ridge wallet is like max capacity. Their whole purpose or their design is around being pretty minimal. And I would not want to have like a stack of rewards cards in there on a minimal wallet. And almost done with the phone. Let's put it there. Fun fact, if anyone's watching close, you've seen me like suddenly do a rapid zoom in like a dozen times. Only maybe about 3 of those times have been on purpose. Every once in a while I do it and it works out, so I stick with it. But man, there's been a couple of those times that was not on purpose. Or several of those times. I know that's an imperfect edit, but no one will be able to see it. The rest of that, no one's going to be able to see. I would love to clean this section. It's not happening. It is just 100% not going to happen. The irony is, oh, okay, there is a little bit more cleaning work to do up here. But once I got the source point lined up, this all goes super quick. Oh, that one won't work. What am I thinking? Let's try that. Perfect. Or perfect enough. Do I need to clean anything here? I'm going so much more detailed than any of this warrants, but hey, whatever. Let's see, Curvy, you like to have 100 on you at all times? I generally used to do the same. I wouldn't say I do that now, but that's not, I don't know, it's part of it is I just don't feel the need to have the cash on me anymore. There was a time back in the day, man, when credit cards were still way less reliable as an option. Yeah, 100%. I would always have like $100 on me. Now, meh, kind of feel no need for it. All right, man, I really should have wiped down that phone screen because that was all the work on this photo. Quick look around the sides just to see. I'm so tempted to blur that background, but I don't want to take the timer effort. Let's see. Blue Cash Preferred, Amex. Yeah, I keep minimal credit cards in the wallet. Most places around here take Google or Apple Pay. So I would like to use those more. I really would. But I'm in a position where I want to be cheap. And this is going to sound so dumb, but it's true. You don't get rewards off of those anymore. Or, well, I don't think you ever got rewards off of Apple Pay. But Google Pay very briefly tried to kind of compete with Samsung on rewards before just simply beating them for reasons unknown. And here's the thing. I used to take good advantage of those rewards. Then they went away. Once those went away, I noticed if you use your credit card just as a credit card and don't use Apple Pay, Google Pay, anything like that. Just woke up my Nest tub. What I discovered is you get opinion rewards surveys asking for receipts actually not just more often. You don't get them if you use Apple Pay or Google Pay. Well, maybe with Google Pay, sorry. You don't get them if you use Google Pay. So I realized Like, it's not that big of a thing, but I don't want to give up that little bit of extra credit from using Google Pay. So I still use credit cards pretty much all the time. And I get the please take a photo of your receipt things for every place I go. It's a small thing, but it's money I can save on future app purchases or whatever. If they would give you rewards for using Google Pay, I'd be back to that in a heartbeat, though. I much prefer that to tapping a credit card if I can. Just because the odds that I already have my phone out for one reason or another are just way higher. Yeah, it's a little blurred, but I'm not going to try to fix it. In part because I kind of want to wrap up not too far from now. I have a couple images, or well, I have a few images left. It's like 4 or 5, but it's 9 o'clock now, so I don't want to go. I kind of wanted to end earlier, but I got started much later than I planned on. Let's see. David, you have money flowing to 3 different cards. You carry 1 or 2 credit cards, ID card, insurance cards, cash. The list goes on. Only the Apple Card does cash back. Yeah, that makes sense. Curvy, you get like 4 times or 6 times the points or cash back for dining out on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. David, yeah, that Samsung Pay, oh my god, it was insane. Truly insane how much you could get out of that if you worked it. Yeah, that looks fake. Okay. Screw it. I'm not going to try to fix that. That is a very niche thing. There's a part of me that wants to try to take out this leaf or whatever it is. I guess kind of grass, but I'm just not going to try to fix that. It would take way too much time and effort to fix that, and I like the photo enough the way it is. This, however, warrants some little fixes here and there. David, thank you. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of photos, I take them and I look at them and just think, oh my god, I'm just not happy with this photo or that photo. And then I get it into editing and it's like, you know, these are actually kind of good. Not great. I you know, a lot of these were rushed or kind of taken in not the best circumstances. If I could control the environment a little better, it's going to be really a pain to fix that specific spot. No, actually it wasn't. Kind of got lucky with that. But yeah, I can't begin to tell you how much I've thought, oh wow, you know, I'm gonna have to take like 30 more photos just to maybe get a good one out of a batch or something, or I take a few shots and I'm just convinced I walk away going, oh man, these are so bad. I'm gonna have to reshoot such and such thing. And then I get around to editing and it's like, you know, nah, this works. I'm good with it. I screwed up a little in there, but I'm not fixing that. I could make this look spick and span, but it would be a bear to get through all the textured surface that's in this. So I think I'll just do a couple of spots of kind of hitting the really obvious ones and then just leave it as. Most people do not bother with this level of cleanup when they're doing photo. Actually, most reviewers do not bother with anything even remotely close to this. I'm way more nitpicky about cleaning up dust and gunk and whatever. Not going to name the site. You guys know what you'll know exactly who I'm talking about because I'm not apologetic about talking trash about them. But there was a site, they posted a review of a thing that had a keyboard. It had a physical keyboard on it. And the keyboard was just drenched in finger oils. It looks so disgusting. It was actually something, I shared it around a couple of places. And there were a couple of people, their response was literally that it made them want to throw up. Because it was just such a... It clearly demonstrated, like, bad hygiene. Something had to be wrong with somebody, that they had a keyboard that after... supposedly, they only reviewed it for a couple of weeks. And this thing looked like... I mean, you've seen what keyboards look like after people have had them for years. This is what that looked like. The keys just looked... It looks like a keyboard that used to have texture to it, but through time it has like lost its texture and become like the keys went glossy, except this happened instantly. Really, really disgusting. And yeah, I do not want anyone looking at a photo of mine and going, ooh, that makes me want to vomit. I feel like that is a sign that you've screwed up if you have people expressing that opinion about your photos. And seeing as this is a product that you wear in your ear, you get it. The last thing I want to do is have people looking at this going, ew, no, that triggers a bad feeling. Just drawing one quick line makes a whole thing disappear. I love it. Imagine what photo editing used to be like. I know they didn't used to do this at all. There was a time where if you didn't get it right out of camera, you had to live with what you got. But now, man, look at what we can do. We can make stuff just look so much cleaner. Not perfect, but... Or, well, we can make stuff look perfect. We can render it out in Blender or whatever, but, you know. Mechanical keyboards have massive problems with buildup. You remove the keycaps and clean with Q-tips every 3 months. That's pretty good. I mean, there are some things that I clean pretty diligently. I admit I don't go super hard on the keyboard, but I also keep my keyboard pretty clean anyway. Not a neat freak about cleaning, but I do prefer to keep things reasonably clean if I can. Actually, I should say I'm not a neat freak about hyper cleanliness. I am definitely not a neat freak when it comes to organization. I used to be. I kind of still have the tendencies, but due to circumstances, I also look like a pretty messy person, so ever so slightly off on that line, but no one will be able to tell at normal zoom level. I don't know how anyone else is feeling about the music, but it's throwing me that it is so calm. It is so at peace. I feel like I want something a little bit more intense than what I found. Okay, that one went quick. It's very fitting. I feel like if I wasn't talking, it would be. Me talking feels maybe a little too engaged. I don't know. The thing about the photo edits and kind of chill hop, it makes me feel like it should be, or you can kind of have one mood, which is the edits taking place, and those can go at almost any speed, but it's more just something you kind of stare at, and it can be slightly hypnotizing, and the music can go with that. But then I feel like as I'm talking, the talking keeps it from having that sort of effect. Oops. Technically, I'd like to clean up what's on the rock, but I don't think anyone's going to notice it. Alright, we gotta fix that stupid little microphone hole right here. What I can do is sample from a different one. Boom. Oh my god, that was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Normally getting those elements is tricky, but that just came together. I'm not going to try to get all the dust off of this one, I think. Maybe a couple bigger bits. Okay. Alright, we're going to get rid of that. Some of the little specks on here, spoiler alert, are paper towel. Because I washed this rock really rapidly. Wanted to dry it off, and so I happened to have some paper towels nearby. I probably should have used something else, but it left little random bits of paper towel kind of on it. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna make that disappear. Okay. Man, flying through the blast of these. What am I talking about? This is last one, actually. A little later than I wanted it to be, but I can knock most of this out fairly fast. So let's see. Really wish this smear, whatever that is, whatever effect that's doing, I really wish that wouldn't have happened, because it showed up on a lot of photos, just barely. It's not too hard to fix, and most of them I didn't bother fixing because it's not that big of a problem, but this is the part that's gonna suck. Okay. Ooh, a couple of good swipes. Got lucky with those. So, yeah, let's see. One thing I was actually hoping to do with this stream, so I was actually going to, you know, those are two ugly edits, but no one will be able to see when I zoom out, so I'm not going to get too caught up in them. I also have a video. Yeesh. Those are bad lines. Oh, kind of got that fixed. I also did actually grab a quick video for this review. It's nothing special. It's literally just showing how responsive this touchscreen is. I think some people care about that sort of thing. But I was kind of aiming to do a quick color grade on that video, but there's not time for that, and I want to get it just done because all the review is done and ready to go. I literally just have to get these edits done and posted in our system. Yeah, I should not bother doing this much stuff for reviews. They do not pay enough to justify this kind of work, but it took, I mean, I literally had it in place, and it's like, you know what? Let's show how responsive the screen is. So I changed the settings really fast, could easily just make it look decent. So all I have to do is go in and do a very quick color grade and export the videos. So, you know, it wasn't a lot of work, and technically it adds some context that some people might care about. I also actually did something I've never seen anybody else on Android Police do, and when I started thinking about it, I noticed most sites don't do this. I also recorded a voice sample of the microphones. People never do that, and once I started thinking about it, I wondered why. Like, I always try to explain how good is the audio when you're calling somebody or when someone calls you. I have no way to demonstrate how good the audio is when somebody's calling you. Like, you can't prove that, but you can just record your voice coming through the microphones. It's not hard. So, yeah, I did do that recording, but oops, yeah, screwed that up. There we go. It's all this stuff I just constantly notice other reviewers never do. I do that stuff. And I think I'm overworking. Actually, that was a bad edge, but it's easy enough to fix. yeah, no one's going to see the detail that I'm working at anyway. For clarity, this is not clone stamping. Just to get the really nitpicky point in there, this is the healing brush. Clone stamp works really well in its own way, but the healing brush kind of does, I mean, it's not technically AI, but it feels like it's got some sort of a pattern texture matching feature that makes it act like AI. And it's like, it's not perfect, but it works really well. And this wouldn't work quite as well, or I don't think it would, with just a mouse. This works so well because I can kind of scribble it in and make little adjustments and corrections as I do it. Well, speed wise, I mean, obviously you could use a mouse and just be you could do the exact same movements, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to do it as quickly or with this kind of control. I mean, a mouse has its own level of control, which is really good, but it's different. Okay, I think that's solid. So, not that anybody cares, but my next step, I'm not going to do this here, but I always, now that I've saved the edited versions of these photos, I'm going to go through, I'll correct some of the file names because why not? And then I run them through a batch process to resize them. Then I run them through another batch process to add watermarks using a different tool. And then they're ready to upload to the website. So yeah, that's the process I typically go through. The other stuff's boring. No one cares to see it. But yeah, that is editing all the review photos. So I did that in what, 3 hours or so. And I'm going to have another one of these pretty soon for the TerraMaster NAS that I'm reviewing. That one's going to go a lot quicker because there's going to be way less photos. There just are. It's so hard to take photos of a NAS and make them pretty. So I'm going to try to do more like 2 to 3 really good photos and get the best possible images I can for those. Maybe spend a little more time on each, and then that'll be it. I'm not going to try to make those look as good they'll look as good, but I'm not going to try to make as many of them. It's just not worth it. Anyway, so yeah, David Curvy, I'm glad you came by and hung out, chatted for a bit. David, good luck with the hangover. hopefully you didn't reach that point, but just in case. And let's see. Oh yeah, if anyone, of course, huge thanks to both of you for being supporters of the channel. If anyone watches this later and would like to help support the channel in any way, shape, or form, there are links to Streamlabs Cash App and Patreon down below in the description. By all means, feel free to click around, check them out, experiment with them, and contribute whatever feels appropriate. But with that, I'm gonna go find myself something to eat and veg out and do other stuff before I take all these photos, put them in with the review, and it'll be ready to go. Probably in the next week it'll go up. I don't know. And Carson suggested I post some before and afters. I might do that. We'll see. I'm also going to probably post 1 or 2 images not with the review. I'll post them separately somewhere else. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, so thanks everyone for coming by. I look forward to catching you possibly tomorrow. We'll see. If not, it'll definitely be RambleCast. So with that, I hope you all an excellent rest of your evening, which is nearing midnight for Curvy. Well, still nearing midnight for David too. But yeah, good night everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. And I just said good night. Yeah, okay. Good night, everybody.